Hello, and welcome to this brief podcast recording that we're having here today with our two new authors on our new American government book, David Paletz and Diana Owen. They co-authored this book with the late Timothy Cook. I'm Sharon with Flat World Knowledge, and thank you for joining us. Hi, David, and hi, Diana.
Hi, Sharon.
Hello, Sharon.
Well, let's not keep our listeners waiting any longer and jump into our first question. David, could you tell our listeners today, what is it that made you decide to write a new American government textbook?
Well, I've always been absolutely fascinated by American government and politics, about who gets what, when, how, and taxation and spending and benefits and costs and life and death decisions. And I've relished teaching about the Constitution of Federalism and civil liberties and civil rights and political culture, how Americans acquire their political values, beliefs. And I've been intrigued by interest groups and how they link and represent or don't represent people. And then, of course, Congress, presidency, bureaucracy, and courts, and all the decision makers, and the domestic and foreign policies that they make. So all of that, the challenge that I've had to face, and Diana too, and Tim did too, is how to communicate this fascination to students, to engage them in the material.
So that's actually a great segue, thank you, David, into our next question, which is what, and I'm going to direct this to you, Diana, if you could tell our listeners, what is it about American government that your textbook that's different than maybe the other textbooks on the market today? What sets it apart?
Well, first I'd like to talk about what makes our text, kind of similar to other texts, and that is that it's a foundational American government textbook. It contains all of the core information that's essential for the introductory course. In fact, making sure that the basics of American government were covered comprehensively was our primary objective when we were preparing the text. So as David mentioned, the book covers the Constitution, federalism, civil liberties, civil rights, government institutions, political parties, interest groups, elections and voting, political socialization and public opinion, and public policy. But what makes our book unique is that we go beyond the basics to explore the ways in which media depict and interact with the political world, which is essential to how government and politics work, especially today. The book explains how and why traditional media, new media, and social media cover politics in the way that they do. And it examines the way that new communication technologies have begun to transform the political process. The text also contains a unique chapter that provides a comprehensive overview of the media in American government and politics, that provides a context for the broader discussion of institutions and processes and policies. Our text explores how government institutions operate in a culture where media feature prominently. It examines how leaders deal with the nonstop cycle of news and interactive media platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. It also takes into account the ways in which people have become involved in the political process using new forms of media and how this influences political processes and public policy. We were inspired to write this text by a desire to connect with our students who've been raised in a media-saturated environment and who are heavy users of media. This generation is the most likely to become involved in politics through social media and to use the latest technologies to access government. We have found that students who may go into a American government course thinking that the material will be dry and boring become really engaged when the topic is presented in a way that reflects how they experience politics, which is through all forms of media, from news programs to entertainment and comedy shows to YouTube videos. This is the reality of politics in the information age, and this is the world of politics that our students must be prepared to enter. Another one of our goals in preparing this text is to encourage students to become engaged participants in civic life. So our book includes sections that discuss the way that young people can become involved in government and politics and how they can influence policy making. We also place a specific emphasis on how they can do this through media.
That's great. David, what else do you believe kind of sets the book apart?
Let me say that when we decided I had these ideas, I looked for co-authors who would be scholars, who were known as scholars of American government and politics, who were experts on media and politics, especially new technology, and who were also great teachers. and I found Diana, Owen, and Tim Cook, who were perfect for this. And it's a great pleasure has been to work with both of them in producing the book. And we came up with various ways of incorporating the media in the chapters. We have anecdotes, media-based anecdotes. We have boxes with enduring images, comparing content, and of course we use technology. And so it's just a tremendous pleasure to have done this.
Very good. Very good. So I'm kind of going to move into this final question, and I'm going to direct it to you, Diana, is, you know, we're so happy to have you at Flat World Knowledge and happy that you chose to publish your book with us. And I think what might be interesting to the listeners is to know maybe what brought you to publish with Flat World. What made the difference there?
Well, I'm very excited to be publishing American Government and Politics in the Information Age with Flat World, and there's a number of reasons why. And I guess for me, the first was my concern about the price of textbooks that skyrocket out of control. There's a need for high-quality, affordable text, and Flat World provides just that. I was concerned that the old-style textbook model has a lot of slick production gimmicks that drive up the cost of the books without adding any value. And with Flat World, there's no compromise on the content. The textbooks all have the key elements of traditional textbooks, along with important new features that make the text come alive for students. So, for example, in our American Government text, we're able to provide links to videos, websites, and other digital materials to actively illustrate the points that we make in our book. Another reason is that I love the fact that Flat World texts are customizable. I've always found it frustrating when teaching the Introductory American Government course that texts contain a significant amount of material I don't cover in class. And with our book, instructors will be able to create a text that fits with their syllabus and their course goals. And finally, Flat World allows us to create a textbook that reaches students where they live. Our book not only allows students to read about how media influences politics, and allows them to experience it by using social media to access these real-world examples. The text is also available in digital formats as well as in the hard copy, and can be adapted and used in ways that conform to the expectations of tech-savvy students.
Yeah, I would add to that there's no limit on the innovative ways that teachers using our book can use the book. For example, they can challenge students to revise and add and question what's in the add to and question what's in the book. They can ask their students to submit civic education examples. They can ask their students to add links or suggest links. In other words, they can have their students engaged with material and rather than being, as is often the case with textbooks, passive recipients.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you. I want to thank both of you, David and Diana, for joining us today to talk about your new textbook, American Government and Politics in the Information Age. And I want to thank all of our listeners today for joining us and spending a little bit of time just to learn a little bit more about this new textbook. We invite you to request a desk copy, to peruse the book online as it publishes, and communicate with us often about what your needs might be in terms of your American Government course. Thank you for your time, and thank both of you for your contributions to your discipline, and of course for writing this book with Flat World. We're excited to be publishing it.